Stop before you pull that next weed, watch this. How many times have you spent your entire weekend on your hands and knees, yanking out what looks like garden trash, just to throw it straight into the yard waste bin without even thinking about it? What if I told you that ripping out those so-called annoying weeds is actually starving your garden? You are not just cleaning up your beds, you are throwing away the most potent free fertilizer nature provides. Those deep taproots are actively mining minerals from way underground, minerals your vegetables cannot reach on their own. And when you kill them, you are literally paying commercial fertilizer companies for the exact same nutrients these plants are trying to give you for free. Today, I am revealing 10 garden weeds you should never pull up because they fertilize your soil for free, every single day, without you spending a dollar. Stick around because number 7 literally replaces expensive nitrogen bags, and you have probably poisoned it dozens of times without knowing. And that bonus at the end, absolute game changer, especially if you have been fighting poor, exhausted soil for years. Hey there, garden friend, welcome to my channel. You just stumbled onto the most practical, budget-friendly gardening channel on YouTube. I know gardening is not always picture perfect. And the biggest question people always have is, what do I do when it goes wrong? That is exactly the gap we fill here. We do not just show you the pretty harvests. We tackle the mistakes and we show you how to turn those exact problems into your biggest advantages. Before we jump into the countdown, do me a quick favor. If you are serious about growing a healthier garden, working smarter instead of harder, hit that subscribe button right now. And turn on notifications because I drop videos every week that will save you money and rescue your garden when things go sideways. Alright, let's get into it. Number 10, the dandelion, the golden miner that fixes dead soil. Most people think those yellow flowers are just annoying weeds, but they are actually nature's perfect soil helpers. Dandelions grow where the soil is hard and missing calcium. Their deep roots act like a drill. They typically push 6 to 18 inches down into the soil to break up hard clay and in ideal conditions even deeper. As they grow, they pull up calcium and iron into their leaves. Your vegetable roots cannot reach that deep. Store-bought liquid plant food costs $20 a bottle, but dandelions do the exact same job for free. Here is exactly how to use them in your garden. Take a bucket of dandelion leaves, add water, and let it sit for 2 weeks to make a free plant tea. Pour this tea directly onto your soil, or just chop the leaves off at the soil level and drop them right next to your vegetables. After you use this, your garden gets a huge boost of free minerals. Your soil becomes softer, and your tomato plants will grow stronger and produce much more food because they finally have the calcium they need to thrive. But what do you do when things go wrong? Dandelions become a big problem if the yellow flowers turn into white, fluffy seed heads. The wind will blow thousands of seeds everywhere. To stop this, just chop the flowers and leaves off while they are still yellow. Never pull the deep root out. Leave it underground to rot and soften the soil. Think of dandelions as a free delivery truck. They bring buried treasure right to the top of your garden. Number 9, purslane, the green carpet that locks in water. Most people think this flat, fleshy weed spreading across their garden is stealing water, but it is actually saving your soil from drying out. Purslane loves hot, dry weather. Its thick leaves act like a living blanket over the soil. Buying bags of mulch to keep your soil wet costs about $15 for a single garden bed. Purslane does this exact same job for free. It is also a super healthy food you can eat in salads, saving you even more money at the grocery store. Here is exactly how to use it in your garden. Instead of pulling it all out, leave a thin layer of purslane growing on the bare soil around your tall vegetable plants like tomatoes or peppers. After you use it like a living mulch, it brings huge benefits. It cools the soil down on very hot days. It stops the hot sun from baking the soil, which keeps the precious water trapped underground. This means you do not have to water your garden as much and your vegetable roots stay perfectly cool and wet. But what do you do when things go wrong? Purslane becomes a huge problem if you try to chop it up with a hoe or a machine. Every single broken piece of the stem will grow new roots and turn into a brand new plant. Soon, it will take over your whole garden. To manage it safely, never chop it. Instead, just pull the extra plants gently by hand from the main root. Lay the pulled weeds in the blazing sun to dry out completely before you throw them in your compost pile. Think of Purslane as a smart, free tarp that protects your soil's water and keeps your vegetable roots cool all summer long. Number 8. Broadleaf plantain, the green bandage for hard soil. Most people think this flat, ugly weed growing in the cracks of their walkway is just a pest. But it is actually a warning sign that your soil is packed too tight. Plantain loves to grow where other roots cannot breathe. Its thick, strong roots push right through rock-hard clay. As it grows, it pulls up sulfur, magnesium, and calcium into its large leaves. Renting a heavy machine to break up hard soil costs about $80 a day. But plantain does this exact same hard work for $0. Here is exactly how to use it in your garden. If you have a spot or a pathway with very hard clay, just let a patch of plantain grow there for a while. You can also chop the big leaves off and throw them straight into your compost pile to add free minerals. After you use it, your garden soil completely changes. The hard soil becomes loose and soft. This lets water drain much better, and it helps your fragile vegetable roots grow much deeper and stronger without getting stuck. But what do you do when things go wrong? Plantain becomes a huge problem if it grows tall seed stalks. It will drop thousands of seeds and take up all the space in your garden beds, crowding out your tiny vegetable seedlings. Here is how to manage it safely. Do not rip the whole plant out. Pulling it up disturbs the soil and invites worse weeds. Instead, take a sharp knife and slice the plant off right below the soil line before it makes seeds. Leave the thick roots buried underground to rot. This creates perfect, natural tunnels for worms and water to travel through. Think of plantain as an underground construction crew. It patiently breaks up your hardest soil while you sleep without you ever lifting a heavy shovel. Quick pause right now if you're getting immense value. Smash that simple like button and drop a comment below telling me which weed excites you most. Number 7. White clover, the tiny plant that replaces expensive fertilizer bags. Most people think buying bags of nitrogen for their garden is the only way to grow big plants, but they do not know the secret of white clover. This tiny weed actually pulls free nitrogen straight out of the air through a partnership with bacteria in its roots. As the clover's roots grow and eventually die and break down in the soil, they release this stored nitrogen and share it with the vegetables growing right next to them. Buying a big bag of organic nitrogen fertilizer costs about $30 at the store. But white clover feeds your hungry plants like tomatoes and corn for absolutely $0. Here is exactly how to use it in your garden. Let wild white clover grow or throw some seeds down directly in the walking soil paths between your garden beds. Do not let it grow right inside the bed with your tiny vegetable seeds. After you use it, the benefits are amazing. Your vegetable plants will grow huge and dark green because they are getting a steady, free supply of the exact food they crave. You will save money every single year. But what do you do when things go wrong? Clover becomes a major problem because it spreads very fast using long, creeping vines. It forms a thick, heavy mat that can easily choke and kill your delicate new vegetable seedlings. Here is how to manage it safely. You must keep it out of your main crop rows. When the clover creeps too close to your vegetables, just chop it back hard with a weed whacker or garden clippers. Leave the chopped green leaves right there on the soil to feed the soil even more. Think of white clover as a living fertilizer factory. It works quietly in the background, making perfect plant food out of thin air so you can keep your money in your pocket. Number 6. Chickweed, the tiny green weed that feeds poor soil. Most people think this fragile weed with little white flowers is just annoying, but it is actually loaded with important plant food called potassium and phosphorus. Chickweed works hard to pull these deep minerals out of the ground and stores them right in its soft leaves. Buying a bottle of liquid potassium to make your vegetables grow bigger costs about $25, but you can use chickweed to do this exact job for free. Here is exactly how to use it in your garden. You can pull up the chickweed leaves, put them in a bucket of water, and let them sit to make a free liquid plant food. Or you can just chop the weed down with a tool and leave the green pieces right on top of the soil. After you use it, the benefits are huge. As the chopped leaves rot, they release all that trapped potassium directly into your soil. Your tomato and pepper plants will drink it up, helping them grow tons of giant, healthy vegetables without you spending a dime. But what do you do when things go wrong? Chickweed becomes a terrible problem in the cool, wet spring. Its low, thick mat creates the perfect hiding spot for hundreds of slimy slugs. These slugs will come out at night and completely eat your tiny new vegetable plants. Here is how to manage it safely. Do not use poison sprays. Right before you plant your delicate spring seeds, use a garden hoe to scrape the top layer of chickweed off the soil. This completely destroys the slug's hiding place. Just leave those chopped greens right there on the soil to rot and feed your beds. Think of chickweed as a living sponge. It soaks up deep soil minerals and then gives that expensive plant food right back to your growing crops. Number 5. Redroot pigweed, the fast weed that feeds your crops. Most people think this fast-growing weed is just annoying because it takes over their vegetable rows, but it is actually a super plant that gathers free food for your garden. Pigweed has a very strong, deep root. It reaches far down into the soil to pull up nitrogen and phosphorus. It stores these important minerals right inside its big green leaves. Buying a bag of bone meal to add phosphorus to your soil costs about $22, but you can use pigweed to do the exact same job for $0. Here is exactly how to use it in your garden. Take a pair of clippers and chop the fresh green pigweed leaves off. Then, simply drop those chopped leaves right on top of the soil around your hungry tomato or pepper plants. After you use it, the benefits are amazing. The chopped leaves will slowly rot and melt into the soil. They will give all that trapped nitrogen and phosphorus directly to your growing vegetables. Your plants will grow much stronger and make more fruit, saving you money every summer. But what do you do when things go wrong? Pigweed becomes a huge problem if you let it grow tall and make seeds. One single redroot pigweed plant can produce tens of thousands of seeds, and some larger pigweed species can produce even more. This will completely ruin your garden beds for many years. Here is how to manage it safely. You must chop the main stem right at the soil line before it grows those prickly seed heads. Never pull it out by the roots and never put mature seed heads into your compost pile. Think of pigweed as a fast soil vacuum. It sucks up lost, expensive food from deep underground and gives it right back to your garden before you chop it down. But the next few are honestly even better. Number 4. Lamb's quarters, the dusty weed that fixes tired soil. Most people think this weed, which looks like it has white powder on its leaves, is just taking up space. But it is actually full of free minerals. It grows a strong, deep root that pulls up calcium and potassium from deep underground. It stores these minerals right in its soft, green leaves. Buying a bottle of liquid calcium to stop your tomatoes from rotting at the bottom costs about $18, but Lamb's Quarters does this exact same job for free. Here is exactly how to use it in your garden. Pick the green leaves and soak them in a bucket of water for a few days to make a free calcium tea. Then, spray this liquid directly onto the leaves and stems of your tomato plants. After you use it, your garden gets a massive benefit. The extra calcium helps stop your tomatoes from turning black and rotting on the bottom. You get to harvest healthier tomatoes while saving money every single summer. But what do you do when things go wrong? This weed becomes a big problem in the hot, dry summer. It gets very thirsty and will quickly steal all the water from your tiny vegetable seedlings, causing your crops to dry out and die. Here is how to manage it safely. Only let it grow in empty garden beds or in your soil walking paths. When it gets about 1 foot tall, chop it down. Do not pull the thick root out. Leave the main root in the ground so it rots and creates perfect, soft tunnels that earthworms absolutely love. Think of Lamb's Quarters as a tiny mining crew. It works hard underground to find hidden calcium, giving it straight to your fragile plants without charging you a penny. Number 3. Common burdock, the giant plant that plows hard soil. Most people think this huge, ugly plant with elephant-sized leaves is just a monster weed taking up space, but it is actually doing the heaviest work in your garden. Burdock grows a massive, deep root that pushes through rock-hard clay like a bulldozer. As it digs down, it pulls up hidden iron and sulfur into its giant leaves. Buying a heavy metal tool to break up hard soil by hand will cost you about $150, but burdock does this backbreaking work completely for free. Here is exactly how to use it in your garden. If you have a spot with terrible, packed soil, just let a few burdock plants grow there for the summer. You can also chop off the giant leaves and soak them in a bucket of water for a few days to make a free, mineral-rich plant food. After you use it, your garden soil is completely transformed. The giant roots break up the solid clay, leaving behind soft, loose soil. This lets rain soak in easily and helps your delicate vegetable roots grow deep without getting stuck. But what do you do when things go wrong? Burdock becomes a terrible problem in the late summer when it grows seed pods covered in tiny hooks. These annoying sticky balls will grab onto your clothes and your pet's fur, spreading this giant weed everywhere. Here is how to manage it safely. You must stop it before it makes those sticky seeds. Use a sharp shovel to slice the top of the plant off right below the soil line. Never try to pull the giant root out. Leave it buried in the ground to rot and create massive tunnels for water and earthworms. Think of burdock as a heavy-duty soil bulldozer. It tirelessly smashes through your worst clay while you literally do nothing. This next one will completely blow your mind. Number 2, field horsetail, the ancient weed that fights plant diseases. Most people think this weed, which looks like tiny green bamboo, is just a pest, but it is actually a powerful shield for your garden. Horsetail is packed with a strong mineral called silica. Silica helps strengthen the cell walls of your tomato and cucumber plants, making them more resistant to disease. Buying a bottle of organic mold and fungus spray costs about $24 at the garden store, but horsetail can do a similar protective job for free. Here is exactly how to use it in your garden. Pick the green stalks and boil them in a big pot of water for an hour to make a strong silica tea. Let the tea cool down, put it in a spray bottle, and spray it directly all over the leaves of your garden plants. After you use it, the silica coats your plant leaves and helps them resist fungal attacks like white mold and black spots. For best results, reapply every 1 to 2 weeks throughout the growing season. This is a preventive treatment, not a one-time cure. Consistent use can easily save you money in garden chemicals every summer. But what do you do when things go wrong? Horsetail becomes a huge nightmare because its roots spread very deep and very fast underground. It can easily take over your beautiful garden beds if you ignore it. Here is how to manage it safely. Never try to dig or pull the roots out. If you break a root in the soil, every single tiny piece will grow into a brand new weed. Instead, just use clippers to cut the green stalks off right at the soil level all summer long. Think of horsetail as a free security guard. It works hard to help wrap your plants in a protective shield without ever charging you money. And finally, this one will literally blow your mind. Number 1, stinging nettle, the painful weed that makes the best plant food. Most people hate this weed because touching it gives you a very painful, stinging rash. But it is actually pure green gold for your garden. Stinging nettle works hard to pull up huge amounts of nitrogen, calcium, and iron from the soil. It stores all these rich minerals right inside its prickly green leaves. Buying a jug of high-quality liquid fertilizer costs about $35 at the garden store, but stinging nettle makes an even better plant food for absolutely free. Here is exactly how to use it in your garden. Always put on thick leather gloves first. Chop the green stems and leaves off and drop them into a bucket of rainwater. Let the bucket sit for 2 to 3 weeks to make a dark, rich liquid plant tea. Then, pour this free tea straight onto the soil around your hungry vegetables. After you use it, your garden gets a massive surge of energy. Your plants will grow and look bright green because you are feeding them the perfect mix of natural vitamins. This will easily save you money every single year. But what do you do when things go wrong? Nettle becomes a dangerous problem because brushing against the leaves hurts a lot. This makes it very bad to have around young children or pets playing in the yard. Here is how to manage it safely. Never let it grow near your main walking paths. Only let it grow in a hidden, safe back corner of your yard. Always wear heavy gloves when you touch it and chop it down before it grows any seeds so it does not spread. Think of stinging nettle as a private plant food factory. It physically guards its own precious treasure, rewarding your bravery with the greatest free fertilizer on earth. We made it to the end, and it is time for that bonus tip I promised you. Honestly, almost nobody talks about this, but it is the secret that ties everything together. You now know that these 10 weeds pull up different minerals like calcium, iron, and nitrogen, but the real magic happens when you mix them. Here is exactly how to use this secret. When you chop down your dandelions, chickweed, and stinging nettle, throw them all into the exact same big bucket of rainwater. Let them soak together for 2 to 3 weeks. When it is ready, do not pour it on the leaves. Use a watering can to pour this dark liquid straight onto the soil around the bottom of your plants. After you use this mixture, the benefits to your garden are incredible. By mixing these mineral-rich weeds together, you make a super plant food. It is like a powerful daily vitamin that gives your vegetables a wide range of nutrients to help them grow huge and healthy. But what do you do when things go wrong? This giant bucket of rotting weeds will start to smell absolutely terrible. Here is how to manage the bad smell. Just grab a single handful of normal soil from your garden and throw it right into the smelly water. The good bugs in the soil will quickly eat the bad smell and balance the water. Think of this super bucket as a free, permanent garden pharmacy, built totally from the annoying weeds you used to throw in the trash. If you really want to work smarter instead of harder, hit that subscribe button right now. Also, turn on the notification bell so you never miss another gardening secret we share. Before you leave, drop a quick comment below and let me know, which of these 10 power weeds are you going to stop throwing away this weekend? I read every single comment. Thank you so much for watching. Now get out there and put those weeds to work.